All right, here we are at the end of November, Thanksgiving weekend, and episode 27 of the Everyday Bowhunter Podcast. Welcome back, everyone. Once again, I'm here with my brother, Dan Zemer. I'm Mike Manley, and been a little while, but we have been some busy cats.
Yeah, that was a long season of a whole lot of, well, I had a little bit of excitement here and there, but other than that, it was a barren wasteland.
I tell you what, I think it was one of the most disappointing seasons I've had in a while. My work schedule did not help. Not being able to take but 2 days off the whole season didn't help.
I had a lot of vacation time, and I utilized it, and my ass was in the seat a lot, and I did not see a lot, except I had an opportunity at the biggest buck I've ever seen alive in the woods. I heard him about 80 yards. First, actually, I heard a bunch of crows and blue jays going berserk, and I was like, "What the hell is going on there?"
Now let's hold on just 1 second before you go into that. Frame it out. You were in north central PA.
Yeah.
It was just what time frame? It was like. Was that the 2 weeks? That was first weekend in November?
First weekend in November, yeah.
First weekend in November.
And this place is really remote. You literally have to take a boat across a creek to get to the cabin.
Yeah.
This cabin
is phenomenal.
It's a phenomenal place. Kind of magical place. And it's magical.
It's not like a house, but it's
a cabin.
Cabin.
It's set up for a lot of hunters. It's a big cabin. Each bedroom has multiple bunk beds in it, and there's like 5 or 4 bedrooms, and
you can put a lot of people in this place.
Yeah, one giant bedroom has probably like 6 or so bunk beds in it.
And you have what? They have a huge griddle. Stove. They can cook for that amount of people.
Yeah, and a gigantic kitchen table. Is the biggest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's awesome.
You can sit a lot of people.
And there's like 15 recliners. So they got rid of all the couches and put recliners in so that somebody didn't go lay on the couch and then there's not room for other people to sit. So the whole living room is nothing but recliners. Really magical place.
Awesome up there. Yeah.
Heated by a fireplace. You got to keep that thing going. Like it's old school, man. It's,
outhouse,
like
of course.
A double outhouse back to back.
Yeah.
It's wild. And you got to like cross a little moat bridge to get to the outhouse. It's just one of the neatest places ever. It's been in our family for a long time.
The fire pit outside is huge too.
And the fire pits outside is massive. A big, massive porch on the place. Half of it covered, not screened in or anything, just covered. But it's just a magical place. Yeah. So we had the opportunity to go up there. He couldn't make it because of his work schedule, new job, and me, our buddy Jevin, that you guys met. My dad and our cousins and a great uncle went up, and they got food plots and all this, an archery hunter's paradise, believe it or not, tucked in between the steepest mountains of Slate Mountains that you've ever seen in your life.
It's all their property borders public land.
Yes. Yep.
So it's not this big private land haven.
No. They only have where the cabin is in a big front yard, and then the rest of it's all public land. Yeah. State forest, or state. It's just public land. I don't know what it is, but I know it's state.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had like first morning. I got up, got into a ladder stand in one of the food plots. I got up in it dark, and I leaned over to get my bearings, and my radio was right here. It dropped down to the ground. I just left it there, and it was about 8:30, and I'm like, you know what? They're probably going to be checking in. New territory, make sure everybody's okay. So I stand up, turn around to go down, and a doe from the whole other side of the creek, me getting up moving, they're so used to, blew at me and took off. I'm like, you're talking 150 yards away. Incredible. Like I was like, okay, so that's how that's going to go. But so the last day of hunting, I go up. It was kind of on a whim. So our cousin was like, I want to do a 10 to 2 hunt. He's like, I've always wanted to do it instead of getting up early. So we kind of just all agreed except for Jevin. Jevin went out and did his normal morning thing. And me and Dad and Mark were like, yeah, screw it. Let's do it, So we sat around, drank coffee. Mark made us fried egg sandwiches and this and that. And we're like, all right, let's go out. So I was going to go to this double ladder stand, and I heard Dad say, I'm going to this double ladder stand. And I was like, oh, that's where I was going to go. But I'll go somewhere else. Go hunt that. I'll figure it out. I'll go up behind camp or something. So I do. And I start climbing this mountain, and it's very steep.
Yeah, it's steep up there.
So I get from the flat, I get about 60 yards up, and there's this big slate rock platform and a tree were coming out the backside of it. And I thought to myself, dude, this is perfect. Never sign, So anyway, I set up shop and I'm on this big slate rock. And I'm just hanging out and I hear all these crows and blue jays going berserk. And then I hear, and about on this bench directly above me, I see this joker. I mean, massive, just thick, heavy, tall, very short brow tines, but anyway, and about 80 yards at an angle, he's going down, beeline straight for Dad at the double man. And I radioed Dad. I'm like, do you hear the blue jays and crows going nuts? Yes, son, I do. I was like, there is a racker heading your way right now. He is exactly under where those birds are going nuts. They're going nuts on him. And sure enough, after this whole story says that he saw 2 doe. That's what he was after, was these doe. Okay. And they were way ahead of him. I never saw the doe. Okay, so about a half hour goes by, and I'm waiting for the radio call. He's dead, one of them deals. And I just happened to look to my left down on the flat, and he's walking right into me. And I'm like, oh my God, my heart's pounding, beating. He gets about 50 yards in front of me and gets in this thick stuff and beds down. And he was down there for 35, 40 minutes, just laying, bedding down. And then all of a sudden, on the other side of the creek, there's rails to trails. People must have been going by. As Uncle Bill says, it was people on a bike that had a cart, you would put kids in. Yeah. Well, they had a dog in it. And this dog was freaking out the whole time. The whole way. Well, this buck stands up and gets cagey. He looks like he's going to head back towards where the double man stand was. I must have thought better of it. As soon as he turned around, I let one rip. And I misinterpreted the yardage. I literally shot maybe 1 inch underneath of his belly, directly behind the shoulder. Just would have been perfect location. But I mean, this game is a game of inches, right? And I missed killing that buck probably by about 6, 8 inches, something like that. And it was devastating.
At that distance with an arrow, sometimes especially shooting downhill, that was a good downhill shot too.
Yeah, it was downhill and he was on the flat. So it was a little bit of trajectory stuff going on there. I replayed it a million times in my head, but at any rate, he runs right up beside me at 15 yards and blowing at me the whole way up. And he went back into this hollow. And that was it. That was all she wrote. I literally got the opportunity. I mean, he stopped dead in his tracks. When he turned around from head, he was cagey. He stopped dead in his tracks. He didn't know what to do. And I knew right there was my opportunity. I didn't have to or nothing to get him to stop. That was it. And I let it fly. And I got down, I found my arrow and broadhead. That broadhead got shoved about 1.5 inches back into the shaft. It hit slate. And it just annihilated my Magnus Black Hornet. Dude, I'm telling you, literally, I've shot some big buck. You know this. Mm-hmm. This thing dwarfed anything that I have. It was just so thick, so heavy. And what's crazy is they do have them on camera. And at that point, I was the only one that had ever seen him alive. And then to find out another cousin had seen him live and made a pretty big mistake. Was hunting out of the double ladder stand, would take his shotgun and his bow because there's a pond right there. And when Woodies would fly in, if he got bored, he'd go shoot ducks. And then they actually use a fishing rod to get the ducks out because you don't want to go down in there. That's that's quicksand, like years of leaves and decay, Okay. So got to talk to him, and he was like, yeah, I went over there to shoot ducks. I left my bow at the ladder stand, had my shotgun in my hand, and there he was in the thick weeds right behind the pond, just looking at me. He goes, that's all I've thought about for 2 years. So that was 2 years. And this thing is just growing. Like he's going to be on the downhill side.
He's going to be on the downhill side here soon.
But he's been known of for 2 years. And I'm telling you, he was a magical, majestic beast. It was an honor to have that experience. True story. Like to sit there and watch him bedded down. At one point he was like scratching and he's turning his head and it was like he was almost stretching. Like it was an honor to have that experience.
Wow.
Truly an honor.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like on my side of the coin, I had a 6-point with no brow tines come into about 40 yards and there's a bunch of thick stuff in front of him. And he either winded me or just had different intentions, but he started going downhill on me and I grunted him. He stopped, looked around, never looked my way. Went down a little farther. I snort wheezed him. And that's when I was able to get my binocular out and actually see what he had. Was. And I think he was that same 4-point from last year that just got a little bit bigger with no brow tines.
Yep.
But had done my homework on that area, scouted my way in there. Actually was sitting in the only acorn producing tree in that area that I had seen, with acorns on the ground. I went back in there, hunted it again, I think it was 2 weeks later, and all the area under that tree was barren. No leaves on the ground. They just destroyed that spot and ate up most of the acorns. So I was like, obviously I should have come back here the week after.
Yeah. So on that note, really quick, your experience versus mine. So we've talked in past podcasts about luck, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you due diligence, scouted, put time into that, and here I just winged it.
Yeah.
And had that experience. I literally followed the sign. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's crazy is where I was at, I was in between. I was using that bench. They're traveling that. If a doe comes down this way, they're going to come drop down off. I was kind of utilizing that concept, and it played out exactly how I thought it would, minus the doe that I didn't see. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at any rate, yeah. I got lucky to have that experience.
Yeah. Usually when I do a good scout to hunt deal, I see something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only time I truly winged it and got one was when I was coming up on a Thursday night and got up there, and the place that I was going to hunt, there was a bunch of cars there, and I was like, it's 4:30, I got 2.5 hours to hunt or less or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was the earlier part of the season.
Before daylight savings.
Yeah. And then I went and there's a slide that I went in down there just before the bridge there. And I got up in, crawled through some thick brush and came out, and there was a tree with a very small high patch, 10, 15 yard opening. And it's just a shit ton of thick stuff in the old clear cut.
Yeah.
And I just got up in the tree, and an hour later, I had 2 doe come down. In fact, that was the night that I had also, because of my trip up and rushing to get in the woods, I had to piss real bad while I'm up in the tree. I pissed down, wind caught it, got it all over the side of the tree, which now I'm thinking, I gotta go down this tree.
Yeah.
Like, son of a bitch.
Well, you don't have to bear hug the tree, at least.
I was using a climber.
Yeah.
I was using a climber at the time.
Was that
And then I had 2 doe come in, and the one younger doe starts licking my tree where I pissed, which I thought was hilarious. And the other one walks out in front of me, stands there broadside at 25 yards, and I shot her, and she just kind of popped her legs, did a little jump. and just stood there. And I was like,
did I miss her?
I'm like, are you kidding me? I missed this doe? What the hell? So I start cocking another arrow. She goes like 15 yards and drops. I was like, okay.
That's not how I thought it would happen,
but she went 15 yards right into the worst shit ever.
And isn't it amazing how you could have like that experience and then you could place picture perfect shot and that thing will run 400 yards. And it's like these animals are so unpredictable, amazing, but unpredictable when it comes to what their will is. You know, it's pretty crazy.
The placement of the shot and their temperament at the time, I think, means a lot. How on edge they are or whatever. You know, if they're with another deer, want to chase, run with them or whatever, you have all those dynamics. But one of the craziest things is up in our area, how far off it's been on the rut compared to all the areas around us.
Yeah.
Has been
it's like
crazy.
A pocket. It's like rut everywhere except for where we're at.
And they've been late. So I have trail cameras that are getting bucks on the prowl, daylighting a week after we stop hunting. And I literally over the last week have had 2 sets of bucks fighting in front of cameras. For the one was over 20 minutes and the other one was over 30 minutes of fighting. It's not light sparring.
And I was just saying to him, it's really cool. The second set, it had snowed. And in these photos that he has, it was like a group of like 4 or 5 different photos. You could see the territory that they were covering in their fight, Yeah.
And I'm only sending you guys a couple, so I'm not sending you 20 photos.
Right. And just the good stuff.
Yeah. And it's crazy that it was an 8-point and a 4-point fight in the first time for over a half hour. That 4-point was a tough young guy. He was going at it.
The next up and comer.
And then the funny thing is before these fights start, you have a doe in the picture walking through.
So that's the hot doe.
So the hot doe in the area. Still, you figure the pictures in this November 30th, this is this morning on this camera, daylight. It's not, the other one was a nighttime one. This one's a daylight fight in the morning up till 9 in the morning. And it's like on the second day of rifle in PA, these bucks are clanging against each other on the mountain and no hunters to be seen.
You have rifle hunters that are getting the rut right now up there. Yeah. And
we've seen that before. It's just there is a late rut in that area.
Because down in our area, it like just talking to the guys at work that hunt our local area, they've been chasing
first week in November.
Yeah, like it's been going on. And I keep getting all excited. I'm at work hearing their stories and I can't wait to get back up to camp. And then I just sit up there and you barely see a scrape. You barely see a buck rub. And it's like, there was just nothing moving up there. I mean, my last day of hunting was the only real excitement I had. And it was a hell of a true testament to big woods hunting, because I had 2 doe come in and they were behind this deadfall and they just kind of like turned and went away. So they didn't come to my opening that I needed them to come to. They didn't wind me. They didn't jump. They didn't flag. They didn't blow. It was just a weird scenario. And then about 45 minutes later, here come this bear right down, and he was rolling things out. He winded me. Like he was just rolling logs trying to like dig for grubs or whatever. And then all of a sudden gone. Like his butt dropped and up that mountain he went just like that.
Wow.
And I was just like, well, it was just a small bear, but still it was cool. And it was 1 week out of bear season, archery bear. And then I was packing up to leave and there was a porcupine going across. And I was like, oh, and earlier I had geese right beside me in the water right beside me. They were going freaking nuts. It was still dark. And I'm like, shut up. Like,
How'd you go off in there?
Man, I had a red-tailed hawk fly in, grab a squirrel, and just rip that sucker to shreds, like 40 yards away. I was like, dude, it was like one of the coolest hunts I've been on in a long time, other than me shooting the biggest buck of my life. But that was awesome. And then that evening, it was the 2025 Squirrel Wars of... I've never seen anything like it.
I've had some spots where this year where the squirrels were that they need to be hunted.
It had to be 10 squirrels. I never seen anything like it. I was actually like making up a story. I was like, here's where the mountain goes up. And I was like, oh, it's the great northern gray squirrels versus the swamp squirrels of the creek, you know? And they lined up and they ran and met. And the north took great casualties. So the south, dude, I was like, what else are you supposed to do when you're watching this but come up with stories about it? Like, you know, it was fun.
The only time, the opportunity I had this year to shoot, I did kind of a wing shot, which I shouldn't do, but I did, and I regret it. But luckily, nothing bad happened out of it. But anyway, I had taken my e-bike out to an old logging little kind of staging area, right? That's way out the mountain.
Yeah,
and it's off of a logging road, obviously. So I'd taken my e-bike out, parked it, walked about 300 yards to the spot, got in there and put myself right kind of center facing the little staging area. And I had a blind in there years ago, and anybody listening to the podcast years ago know that I had a blind destroyed
by a bear
in there, just shredded by a bear.
Jevin had his destroyed by a bear not really that far from that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So they bears don't like blind.
They don't like blind.
Or trail cameras.
Or trail cameras.
Yes. But anyway, so I'm in this spot and it's starting to rain on me. And I'm like thinking about you because you said, hey, around 5 o'clock, it's supposed to be a torrential downpour. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, come on, don't start raining now. Because it's 3 o'clock.
It's so unpredictable up there, though.
And then it decides to go away a little bit. And it's just kind of a little drizzle. And about 4:15, I just looked to my left, and parallel to me, literally like a 90-degree angle, is I see a freaking doe, and she comes down off the high ground into this little staging area, and this little staging area has high grass, and it's got a bunch of saplings in it, so it's not like it's an open field. It's got a bunch of obstacles in it and stuff. And she comes in there, and I'm like, the way this season's going, I'm shooting a damn doe. I don't care. I'm shooting a doe.
Yeah.
So she comes walking straight to me, and she's giving me the head bob the whole way. But she's not like looking at me like she's spotted me. She's looking like she's just on high alert.
Doesn't know something's going on.
She has something. She knows something's not right. So she keeps looking up and around. She'll go down, she'll take a couple bites, and then she's up. Right. And I literally, my bow, I'm in a saddle. My bow is in front of me in the tree, literally like maybe a 10-inch reach on my hand to get the grip of the bow that's hanging there. And I'm literally at a point where I'm doing it like inch by inch, working my way to it. Every time she puts her head down, I go a little bit and she's back up. And I'm like,
the game.
I'm like, holy shit. So I got a hold of the bow now. And she's got her head down and she looks like behind her. So I pull it back to me. And now I have the bow in my hand. And now she's probably about 10 yards. So she's really close, but I got these saplings in front of me and I got to wait for her to clear that. And it's still a terrible shot because it's like just to my left and straight down, basically. She gets to 5 yards and I'm like, okay. I slowly draw. And when I slowly draw, behind me, freaking goes off running.
Didn't even know it was there.
Another doe's behind me. And I'm like, so this doe in front of me bolts straight forward, right? But now she's in the midst of all these little saplings in this field. And so I'm still drawing and I'm just like, okay, give her a shot, go up. She's going a little bit farther. Now she's standing broadside. I'm like, I think that's about 30 yards. I shoot. It goes underneath her, just kind of like almost identical to what you said with yours, right underneath there, probably an inch or two underneath her belly there. And she just barely jumped and she ran up. And after all's said and done, I took my rangefinder out and ranged it and it was 45 yards. So 30, 45 yards, hard on that to do on that grass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's rangefinders are good for like a solid. So actually, I brought this up to you and I wanted to bring this up on the podcast. Okay. What is the name of the base layer that I had gotten that breaks up your electromagnetic field?
Hex.
Okay, so I talked about this on a podcast that my wife got me this hex stuff, and it's supposed to break up your electromagnetic field. Okay, so the hunt that I had talked about, that I had the doe coming in, they're following this deadfall. They're following right behind it and just needed to get to the opening, and they just kind of like stopped, like they sensed something, and just walked away. Now, I was not wearing the hex, just to preface, okay? But when I brought this up to my wife, I was like, it was kind of weird. It was just bizarre how they acted. It was weird, like almost like they sensed something and just walked away, but they didn't alert, like normal. Mm-hmm. And she goes, "Well, did you have your heated vest on?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Did you take them brand new hand warmers out that are electric?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "And you had your cell phone on you?" "Yeah." She goes, "And you had your pins illuminated?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "You don't think all that you're putting something off? These animals are so dialed into the planet. And here you are with all these electronics putting out, maybe we're not hearing it, but they're hearing that like hum of that operation." Yeah. Or maybe just it's putting out something that we're not.
It very well,
it very dialed in to see.
It very well could be that, or they hit some ground scent from somebody else that was in there.
Or, I mean, there is that too.
There's a lot of different things that can push them off there like that. I've had that happen numerous times.
I just want other people's thoughts on this, because I'm curious. Now I'm kind of. It's not like it was just the illuminated pins or my cell phone. It was the hand warmers, the electric jacket. It was you know what I mean? That culmination of so much in operation in the moment. Yeah. Now it has me.
I'm sure there's a lot of hunters out there that are even will listen to this that use that same stuff and maybe have same or different experience.
Right. I mean, I'm like I said, it's just something I wanted to bring up.
It'd be interesting to hear
to have open discussion.
It'd be interesting to hear what people say as far as experiences. And the thing is, a lot of times you might not attribute that to that stuff, and maybe it is that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
I don't know. You know what? This year, Jevin said something to me at the end of the season. It's kind of along these lines, but different. He said, "You know what? I'm going to go back to getting dressed at the car and not, dressing before I go out and try to manage my scent a lot better." The one thing that when it comes to scent control, and I've experienced this myself where I've taken good care of scent. This year, I did not take good care of scent because of my schedule and everything. Mm-hmm. I was not doing it. I was dressing before I went out.
Yeah.
And I think I saw less deer than normal.
Yeah.
And, I talked about this in podcasts before that. I saw a ton of deer, saw a bunch of different bucks the other year. And I was real careful with my scent, and I was getting dressed at the car, blah, blah, blah. I was using that ozone thing to clean my clothes. Mm-hmm. And I did not do that this year, and I saw less deer. So is it correlated? Is it also because I was not as in tune with my hunting as I normally am?
But you weren't the only one seeing less deer. It was all of us. The whole camp saw less deer. Yeah. Like nobody saw deer. It was crazy. Yes. Like it was just.
We had a tough.
It was tough, man.
Now in the beginning of the season, Jevin was able to kill 2 doe.
Yeah.
But that's doe. It's not buck. And he did see one nice buck. He just didn't get a.
So that's actually kind of a jacked up story too.
Okay. So that's the coyote story. Right?
Yeah. So like, do you ever think about life in terms of if I would have, this would have happened or that wouldn't have happened or okay. So you're driving down the road and you just get this feeling like there's 2 different ways to get to where you're going, and you just get a weird feeling about going that way. So you go left, and then a day later you hear there was an accident over there. Mm-hmm. And you're like, man, that could have been me. You know what I mean? That exact scenario. So we were hunting the same creek bottom where he got his big buck last year. We were about 250, maybe 300 yards away from each other. And I'm hunting this first bench that goes, and it looks right down to this creek bottom, which is 25 yards. Okay. So, and it's almost like a dry creek. There's only a couple wet spots and it's been dry up there. So at any rate, I hear this real fast, and I'm thinking, that ain't a deer unless they're running, you know. And I look to my right, and here's this coyote. Well, I only had one illuminated knock left, and that's the arrow that I had knocked. And I looked at the coyote, and I probably could have got a shot at it. And I thought to myself, I don't want to waste this arrow on a coyote. I want it for a deer case for tracking purposes. You know, that's like the shit that goes through my head immediately. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to shoot him. And he goes down the creek bottom. And then a couple minutes go by, and I did hear way off in the distance but it didn't sound like a deer blowing. And here it was. So Jevin radios me not long after all this happens, and he's like, dude, did you hear that blowing? And I was like, okay, so that's what that was. Okay, I from a distance kind of like sounded like a woodcock going, you know. And I was like, yeah, I actually did hear that. At first I was like, no, I didn't. I thought it was a woodcock. Okay, maybe I did hear that. He's like, you ain't gonna believe this. A racker, just like the one I killed last year, was coming in on a rope, just like it did last year. And it got about 15 yards from the creek, stopped dead in its tracks, turned around, blew, and ran up the mountain. And I was like, oh, was that just now? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I know what happened. And he's like, what? He goes, I thought I heard something behind me. And I was like, okay, well, a coyote just ran up that creek bottom and then did like a big loop and went to the base of the mountain, but like out behind you that way, was looping around. I said, I actually unknocked he's like, what do you mean you unknocked your arrow? I said, well, I didn't shoot him because I had my last illuminated knock. So I thought he was going to come back around. So I put he goes, so you didn't shoot him and it ruined my hunt? And I'm like, that's not how it works, buddy. But okay, you know, once we talked it out, he was like, yeah, I know. I see where you went with that. And we were cool.
You could have shot him and he could have.
And that would have ruined his hunt regardless, because it would have took off.
Because he could have been screaming and everything else.
Exactly. So, but yeah, that was pretty wild. It was a pretty nice sized coyote too. Yeah. But yeah, like, it's just one of those. I made a decision, an executive decision. I'm not going to shoot this thing because I want to preserve my last illuminated knock for a deer. And it kind of altered another person's hunt in that, you know, trickle down effect. It's pretty cool.
Now, that was up to that point, Jevin's season had been rocking. Had been rocking. And then, just like everybody else,
that's when it turned off for him that day.
It turned off. That hunt. I mean, Halloween through the end of the season just
was brutal.
And
that's when I was in the woods so much. I mean, I was going up Tuesday night and hunting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning. You know, like, it was just, I was in the woods a lot, bro, and was not seeing animals. And then my last hunt was, like I said, was the only action I got. And then I had to leave the next day because I actually had COVID.
Yeah.
Like, I had to go home. I was like, I woke up sick as a dog, and I was just sitting there. Dad looks at me and goes, buddy, I could see it on your face. Go home. And I was like, I got to go. It's
hilarious because he went through the whole camp with Clorox wipes and Lysol, and he's spraying that camp down.
Yeah. As soon as I said, dude, I'm not feeling good, and he heard it in me.
Yeah.
He instantly went into dad mode and was just bleaching everything. Mark was texting me, and I was like, hey, I'm getting ready to head home. I'm sick as a dog. And he's like, where's your dad hunting? I said, he's not. As soon as he heard I was sick, his ADHD kicked in, and he started cleaning the whole camp. Went into dad mode.
This was the first year we didn't get a buck out of the camp in
a
lot of years.
Yeah. It was a brutal season.
Disappointing.
Yeah, disappointing.
Very disappointing. We had a lot of
that kind of effort.
One of the other things that we haven't talked about is that we also had a ton of other hunters up there that we normally don't. Hunting pressure was definitely way different. I had an experience.
The CWD, chronic wasting disease, but things have changed things.
There's some kind of squirrel hunting game thing going on with guys. I don't know what it was. So
you heard about the owl thing.
What? Oh, yeah. I think it was the same guys. But anyway, so I'll let Dan say that here in a minute. But anyway, and it leads into this. So it's probably the same guys. So I get to a spot, and it's the spot actually where I said I wanted to hunt it the next week because I saw that buck there, and I didn't hunt it. Well, the reason I didn't hunt it wasn't because I didn't intend to. What happened was I get there, got all my stuff on, got my pack on, have my bow, and I start walking across the road to go up into the woods, and have to climb the mountain to go up to the spot. Anyway, these two trucks pull up right next to me. Right, bunch of guys come piling out right away. It's not like they're just like casually getting out, like a normal hunter getting out, going to get your stuff ready, whatever. These guys get out and they got freaking like rifles in their hands, like it's like 22s and shit. And they got orange on, they got orange hats, they got orange vests on, and not really hunting clothes, not camoed up or anything, like jeans and
Small game hunt.
stuff, small game setup. Yeah. And they're all getting ready to go in the woods the same direction I'm going. I'm literally walking across the street, and I turn around and I said, "Excuse me, guys, where are you going right now?" And they go, "We're going up in here." I said, "Do you see me?" They're like, "Yeah." The guy goes, "It's public land, right?" And I go,
Yeah, but there's a courtesy thing.
It's a courtesy thing. If I see somebody parked at a spot and I see them walking into the freaking woods,
Where's people's hunters etiquette? Come on, man.
I sure as hell I'm not going to walk in the woods there. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go somewhere else. I did it a million times this season. I seen other hunters and I go somewhere else. But anyway,
that shit just drives me nuts about public land.
I said, yeah, it is public land. I said, but there's also 26 miles of valley here, right? You can hunt anywhere. You have to hunt in the exact spot that I'm going right now. I was here first, right? They did not care. So I had some choice words for them, and I left them with this one comment. I said, "You know what? I'm a nice guy." I said, "The next guy you might meet might not be as nice, and you might come back to a bunch of flat tires."
Yeah.
I said, "But I'm not that guy. But think about that the next time you want to pull stunt like this." And I got in my car and I freaking left.
I just can't wrap my head around hunter etiquette anymore. People, there's no common sense. There's no common courtesy. It's just people just want to do whatever they want to do and just be a dick about it. Like, why can't, we're all in this together, supposed to be.
Yeah.
We're all doing this. Like, what is wrong with everybody?
Yeah.
I just can't wrap
I can
my
tell
head
you
around
this.
it.
If you're a hunter like that, you need to stop and think about it. You wouldn't want somebody to do it to you, so don't do it to them.
It's sad. It's pathetic, and it's low life shit, man. That's all it is. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Like, be better. Be a better person.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that what we're all striving for at the end of the day? Is to be a better person and treat the next person with common courtesy and respect. It's just that I just can't wrap my head around people's mindset and their stupidity and ignorance. It's just.
But you said about the owl thing.
Okay, yeah. So the weekend before, we were out there hunting, me and Dad. Dad went all the way up to the top of the mountain, and I hunted down at this creek bottom. And I'm hunting, and I could look off in the distance, hear a car coming in, and it goes down to where me and you parked to go to the top of the mountain. And I could hear it running down there. It was like dead quiet, okay? And now I hear another car, and it stops right where that road that winds off goes out to the double power line, okay? Now I hear another car come down, and it's parked. It stops like right at where my truck is. Now it's got my head thinking, what the heck's going on? Well, I hear down at the big parking area, hoo, 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 hoo. And then over at the Y, hoo, 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 hoo. And then up at my car, hoo, 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 hoo. And then I can hear them laughing at each other the whole way down around. And I'm like, what in the actual hell
This was still turkey season.
It was still turkey. Like, okay, but it's like almost dark. Like, it's almost past, it's all right at
The end of legal shooting.
yeah. So you ain't low key. Anyway, that's not how it's done, guys. That's just not how it's done. But anyway, they get and all back. Two of them go up the mountain. One goes out towards the double power line, and I can hear him out there. Hoo, 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 hoo. And now they're all the other
Trying
two
to get them
cars.
before they come into roost.
I think they're trying to locate them as they're going to roost. Okay. But at that point, it's already all but dark. They already had roosted. Like, and they're not going to mouth off up in the roost and give their spot away. Like, that's not how turkey worked. Anyway, I digress. So Dad up at the top of the mountain, he was like, yeah, I heard that going on. What the hell is that all about? And I was like, these freaking people. So fast forward to the following week when it was just me and Jevin, the coyote day.
Yeah.
It happens again. And we're like, I radioed Jevin. I was like, let's go. We're done. So we're leaving, and a guy, like, there's nothing back this way. Like at dark, nobody should be heading back in. There's nowhere to go. It's all dead ends, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gated dead ends.
Yeah.
So we're heading out to the main gate area. We're there, and that one vehicle was heading back in to do it again. What
What are you doing at dark?
what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
I just this is the thing, guys, about, ladies and gentlemen, about public land. You have dirt bags. You have people doing some really screwy, weird,
Unethical shit
out in the woods.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is the problem with only having access to hunt public land and not your own private land that you can police and keep all this riffraff and whatever out of your property.
Yeah.
You have to deal with this, and a lot of times it's good people, and you can utilize their hunting pressure to your benefit and play that game. But then you have the opposite side of that. You have people stealing your trail cams, your cell cams. You have people that just doing what they're going to do to him. Then you have the people doing God knows what out there. They've watched too many episodes of the hunting public and think that
They're only getting the certain parts out of it.
they're not getting the
full
true
picture.
Yeah, like I don't know. There's times where it's very
they don't really
frustrating.
go through the whole picture in their videos. They're not showing all the other stuff they do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think they
them
need
guys
to-
are working and they know what they're doing. They're professionals.
Yes, I think sometimes they need to show the whole deal.
Yeah.
Not just the fun, exciting parts.
Yeah, right, yeah. I mean,
They show stuff where they don't succeed on hunts, but they're already out there hunting.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
they might show them walk in, but they're not talking about a lot of ethics stuff. They do have some interactions with hunters and some of their stuff this season. But anyway,
so when they're going to roost, when they're roosting, they're not normally answering. Now, that is not true in spring. When you're walking in trying to locate, you can do that and they'll answer because they're getting ready to drop out of their roost. So yes, two things can be true at the same time. I think you guys all know where I'm going with this. And you have to admit, if they're all laughing, it was an agenda. It wasn't just locating birds. What was the laughing? It was an intentional screwing with me and Jevin's hunt.
which we've seen.
You see where I'm going now. Do you see where I'm going with this? It was, if they're laughing like like
They're all around you, and they know you're there.
they know
You're in the vicinity.
they knew what they were doing. Let's just say that I know they knew what they were doing, and it was a game being played.
But and that sucks. Yeah, trail cameras. I had one stolen this year, and then had a climbing tree stand pre-positioned at a tree, probably 15 yards from the tree that the camera was in, as if I'd never go back.
Like we're not. Do they realize? This is what I often wondered. Okay, so you're putting this camera out there, stealing your camera. Do they really realize that they're screwing with a special forces guy? Like, do you know what he's capable of? Like, it's just like, I'm sorry. It's kind of comical in that aspect.
If I had a screw loose, it'd be a bad deal.
Again, there's 26 miles of forest to hide a body. I mean, I'm joking. I'm not that guy. I probably should have never said that. You might want to edit that out.
Edit that out. But no, in all seriousness, it just was not the hunting season that we had hoped for. I've done a lot of prep for it. I did change jobs, and I'm in a job that's highly demanding and don't have vacation yet, really, and kind of hosed me, with the season. And my head was at work a lot,
Learning a new job,
learning a lot of new stuff,
and
a lot
all
of
the new
demands,
responsibilities.
a lot of responsibilities.
I was on the polar opposite of that end, where I'm at a job I've been at for 25 years and have a month's worth of vacation and ate a lot of it, and nothing.
It's just this. It is weird. Like I said, I think it was so. The last day of archery was a Friday in Pennsylvania, and I think it was was it like the 19th or something like that?
Something 17th or 19th.
19th was whatever that was. They're in the third week of November, and so the last day I could hunt was the Sunday prior to that, and I hunt that Sunday morning, and then actually I didn't because we got up. We didn't hunt that Sunday morning because we woke up and the winds were freaking cranking.
And what a season for wind too!
Yeah.
Just brutal wind.
We had like 40-mile-an-hour gusts and stuff. And I was like, I'm not
day after day of it.
I'm not getting in a tree with that. So.
See, we get back to camp, eat dinner. I was damn near falling asleep at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night just because eating that much fresh air all day long.
So I had only planned on hunting in the morning, so we didn't hunt. So anyway, that week, I'm now seeing on my trail cameras up in the woods. I'm seeing deer freaking in bucks daylighting across all of my cameras. And I'm like, what the heck is with this late rut action shit?
Yeah.
Why are they cruising midday now? You know, and it's like
when everywhere else around us
was way early.
like we were talking to Musser, and Musser, it was happening the week before for him.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my gosh, out here.
He's like, I have 10 doe.
He's like Midwest, Southwest Pennsylvania. And he was like, man, it's crazy. It's pure magic out here right now. I'm having the time of my life. And
I have
like,
not
man.
seen deer chasing like that up at our camp in years now.
By the way, Musser, awesome for you. Like, it sucked for us. I'm not happy for you at all. Sucks for you.
I'm going to come down to your camp and we're going to drag piss all through the freaking woods. But anyhow, that's good for you. That is a nice area to hunt down there where he's at.
Beautiful area.
I really like that. But here one thing I did accomplish is I got to test a lot of stuff this season. I did have a tree stand incident, which I didn't talk about. Testing a new tree stand. That's not going to be a great review for that tree stand. We'll get to that later. But I still got to do some video on that to go out and show some things about some safety tips for it, for anybody who wants to use it in the future. But I literally was coming down out of a tree, and it was a climber, and it slipped off of my feet and went down. Even though I have safety straps on there to keep it from being separated, it inverted on the tree, and I couldn't ride it. So I'm hanging off this for like 10 minutes or more. Felt like forever. And I'm starting to hit muscle failure, and I try to yank myself up the tree, and the top part decides to dislodge and come down. I went about 6 feet down the tree, slid. You could see a big slide mark down the tree where I'm hugging the tree, and it hit me in the head so hard that I saw stars. Almost passed out.
And this was all happening while me and Jevin were getting his second doe.
The reason I was
bottom of a mountain.
The reason I was getting out of the tree was because Jevin had shot a doe, and I knew it was at the bottom of a very steep grade.
He shot it near the top of the mountain, and it went down, died at the bottom of the mountain, and we had to drag it back up to the top of the mountain where the road was. It was not great, to say the least, but it was worth every ounce of effort. We worked to get that thing out. It was fun. We actually had fun. We just made little goals like get it this far, get it this far, get it this far.
At the same time, I was
hanging from out first.
But me sliding down the tree like that got me to where I was probably about 6 foot off the ground. I had to peel one of my boots off to get a foothold to get outside of the stand and the safety straps on it, and I jumped out of there. I laid on the ground for like 15 minutes. Just totally smoked.
When we got back to him, he had ice packs on his shoulders, and
I have a torn shoulder muscle.
Yeah, this ain't great, guys. Like it's the whole scenario. And actually, the night before, he was putting this thing together and like showing us, and I was picking it apart. I was like, I don't like this about this thing. I don't like this thing. And then this happens, and it was like I had a premonition that this was not a great setup.
It just is there's not a lot of room for error on that stand. And I'll talk more about that when I do the actual video.
Yeah.
But it's something that is very expensive that I just don't recommend.
Yeah, I don't ever want to see
I'm not a big guy.
I actually see it right now.
Yeah, it's sitting right there.
I'm like mad at it.
Yep. But anyway, Dan, that's really all I have right now.
Well, it's good to be back on the air, so to speak. It's been a while. Feels good to get back in the seat, talk again, get to see you again. Even though I just saw you at Thanksgiving, but it's kind of missed. That's the hard part about us, the everyday guys, trying to fit that short amount of time that you do have to be hunting to get a podcast in yet too.
So the thing that really changed our podcast schedule was the fact that I have my work gets done later now in the evenings, and we would normally do the podcast like 7 in the evening.
Well, and then we could do it up at camp, but until we get out of the woods, you eat dinner, and then you eat 40-mile-an-hour winds all day. Everybody's exhausted. And then you got a camp full of people. So you're going to have to, hey, can you guys go in the living room while we cut this podcast? And you know what I mean? It's just, it makes for a tough situation. I'm not trying to make excuses, but this is our exact.
This is our life.
Yeah, this is our life. This is for the everyday guys. So.
Yep. That's why they call it the Everyday Bowhunter. Yeah. So once again, hey, if you love the podcast, please subscribe. Add your comments down below. If you're on Spotify or whatever, you can add your comments there. Please give us 5-star reviews. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate the loyalty. And until then, we'll see you next time.